What is going on, friend, and welcome to the Foxtrot family, where we believe that music saves lives. And today, we are very thankful for our good friend Jessica for reminding us that a song a day keeps the Reaper away. Today, she has got us checking out Calling All Captains, a new type of gray. I want to say that I am not familiar with this band. I'm going to say that I'm not familiar with this band. The name specifically sounds somewhat familiar. I think that's why I'm thinking that I know them, but I don't really feel like I know them very well. What can we find out about Calling All Captains today? What does our YouTube tell us? Listen to the single Dark Clouds, alt pop, pop punk, alt rock, pop punk, emo, post-hardcore band from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Another Canadian goat, our good friend Russ would say. Another Canadian great, you know what I mean? Hope the video didn't fuck you guys up too bad. Laugh out loud, thank you for being here. Oh boy, how bad is this video? A new type of gray. This might be a tearjerker today, friends. Let's see what it's all about. It's gonna be the goosebumps already. That intro is fire.
I give it up when the going gets tough, like everything I've ever touched. It's fun in the beginning, but I'll be stringing myself along till I fall off. I'll never be the same again. Never be the same again.
Oh my God.
To save myself and walk out the door. Try to be a better friend. It's hard to be mindful and not repeat the cycle of every regret that I've got. Still have nobody to blame for.
Oh my God, I'm gonna let them cook on that second verse though, but man, that chorus is so good. This is like one of those times, friends, where you know how like when you listen to a song and like this, I guess I'm telling you, man, like the hairs on my arms are standing up, the goosebumps are going, just like with every single like second of this song. I think one of the things that we've always like wanted to try to do, especially like on the channel, is like try to like get music to like the next person that needs to hear it. And I feel like this is a good example of trying to talk about like this. I feel like the next time this is a song reaching me today. Does that make sense? I feel like this is exactly what the Reaper reviews are supposed to be about. They're supposed to be about that reminder that music is that healing energy for so many of us. And I'm just really grateful for this song today because it's like we're not even done with it. And like I said, this one's already in a few playlists because, like I said, from the very beginning, it's like it just kind of like runs through my body. And it's hard to explain that. It's hard to explain to people like what songs are the ones that do that. It's just like the ones that it almost feels like they were written for you. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's always great when you can find one and you come across a song where you're like, man, I feel like this was written for me today, you know? And I think that, again, that's kind of going back to what we were saying. It's kind of been always like the point of the whole channel was to try to help that song reach the next person that needed to hear it the way that it's reached me today. You know what I mean? Amazing. I got nothing for it, but it's amazing. When he said, I hope the video didn't fuck you up. When they punched him, and I was like, please don't tell him that they accidentally killed him. Like that would be crazy fucking sad really fast. We'll go get into these lyrics, I promise.
Now it's hard to be mindful and not repeat the cycle of every regret that I've got. Still have nobody to blame for all my mistakes. I can't bring back the things that I've lost. So say I'll be okay. Don't you go and lie to me softly. Anything to pick me up all day. Staring at the walls, they're a new type of gray. Could I truly be happy? 'Cause I don't want to waste my life. Take me far away from it. Still I'll be the person who's fading away. Yeah, you can try to be told to me friendly. Don't trip when you leave, 'cause it's hard to be happy for me. Life is laughing at me now. Can't see my problems out loud. Face myself, I don't know how. I can't turn lost into found. Don't you go and lie to me softly. Anything to make me up all day. Staring at the walls, they're a new type of gray. So say I'll be okay. Don't you go and lie to me softly. Everything fucks me up all day. Staring at the road, but there's a new type of love. A new type of love for me. A new type of love for me. A new type of love for me.
In Canada, Indigenous children are significantly overrepresented in foster care. While they make up of 7.7% of the child population, they represent 53% of children in foster care. Damn. We have similar issues in the States, not necessarily with the foster care, but just with the Indigenous people in our country for sure. Even of a worse nature, I think, than Canada does. Canada has like their own concerns and stuff about that, but the U.S. is definitely worse. If I'm gonna be honest about it. All right, well, how the fuck does this thing have 500,000 views and only 2,000 likes, man? That's crazy, absolutely crazy. Let's read some of these comments before we get into the song. I was a kid in the foster system and became a foster caregiver, and now I work for ICWA, working to keep Indigenous families together, and this song hits me so hard you have no idea how much this song means to us. Like to see comments like that for sure. So that's music touching and saving people that way. That's giving a voice to people who feel like they don't have one, you know? As someone who grew up in foster care, I was lucky enough to end up with family on the reserve. And the ending of this video made my heart sing. Working in group homes in Edmonton and seeing the amount of Indigenous youth in care made me want to foster one day. This music video definitely renewed that desire to help the youth with a safe space to live. I just noticed the music video shows different types of abuse. The first family, you have neglect, physical abuse, and verbal abuse. The second family shows neglect and domestic abuse. First care probably is just doing it for the money, and the second family are fostering to fix their relationship. Unfortunately, many foster homes break down, as dealing with the child who has been through trauma is not an easy task, and there are many systematic problems and lack of support. I feel like there's almost like two whole different conversations to have about this song and video today. The foster care system, the Indigenous people, especially in Canada. Like they mentioned about over 50%, of the children in foster care are of one particular type of descent. That should tell you something right there. You know, that to me screams volumes of what the issues are. You know, and again, it's not to say anything negative against Canada, because again, just North America in general, I think we have the states for sure. We have their own history with that, where it's even 10 times worse, the things that have happened for that. And I don't want to get into too much of a discussion on all that today, because I'm not the person to have it, I don't think. But I think it's one of those things where it's always been something that's been on my mind for a good majority of my life, man. I think that when I deployed, you start to see things from a different perspective. I think sometimes some people get hard on themselves, and they look at exactly the thing that they were told to look at, and they feel the exact same thing that they were told to feel. But sometimes when you look out from that bird's eye perspective, it makes you look at things differently. And for me, I feel like what's changed a lot in me, especially going through that, was the way that I looked at just the things that were told to me and the things that happened, the reality, that bird's eye view. And I think about that when it comes to, again, just the indigenous people, really just in general, again, in North America, the stories that we were told, the way we were told to feel about it, and the reality of that are two different things. But not to focus on that too much, but just to bring it back to the foster care system and the kids that have to go through this. I was in one of my past relationships. Their family lived right next door to a foster care home, and seeing the kids that would come in and out of there, just even over a brief period of time, of how quickly it would come in and out. People would come in and out, and the people that would stay, and just even just imagining and thinking about where those people had came from and the things that they had seen and what led them to be in these positions. It's all of them. It's all just sad. And I feel like going back to kind of what I was saying about with the deployed life changed me. I think one of the things that has always been like really heavy on my mind for my entire life really has been about protecting kids. Because kids are the innocent creatures still. The same way that I feel some sort of way when you abuse animals, because especially like things like dogs and cats and things like that, right? Where most of those animals are not intending to bring you any harm. But I think that there's I think it's kind of almost like a duty that we have as adults to try to take care of and protect the innocent, if you will. And I feel like we're already selfish in nature, and we don't think about how things affect other people, and we really don't think about how it affects the little humans. I don't think nearly enough. And the things that these kids go through, they're so perseverant, you know, to go through like the hardest times in life and be able to come out on the other end of it is difficult. I could take the song itself and have a whole other conversation about everything that I related to that. I think that they did a great job of telling one story in the video and telling another in the lyrical side, without necessarily with not without necessarily, but still leaving the room for it to all be about that same subject matter. Oh my god. Way too much editing today, guys. I had to keep blowing my nose today. I'm sorry. For those of you who are new to the channel, I don't normally edit anything out, but I've been editing out like when I blow my nose and things like that. That's the only time I ever like edit things out now. Unless it's like in the middle of like a cry session. If it's in the middle of a cry session, I don't cut it out. I want everybody to be able to see the full true reaction this way. Y'all watching me blow my nose because I just got nose problems? Not the vibe. Not the vibe. Anyway. Back to these lyrics. I gave it up when the going gets tough. I give it up when the going gets tough, like everything I've ever touched. It's fun in the beginning, but I'll be stringing myself along till I fall off. I'll never be the same again. Too late to save myself and walk out the door. Try to be a better friend. Too late to change myself. I know that for sure. That gives me the goosebumps just reading that, man. Like I said, it's giving me the chills. Like I said, I feel like this song was incredibly relatable to myself. It made me think all about my PTSD, my depression, my issues, just in general, just in my life. It's incredibly emo. I know some people hate that word, and I know some people just don't understand what I'm saying when I say that. But I think the ones that do understand what I'm saying know exactly what I mean when I say that it's definitely emo. Because it's like self-deprecating. It's the things that we say when we feel the worst, not necessarily how we should feel, right? Because I think that we know on the good days, it's not good for us to feel the way that we do. Because it's bad for us. It's self-harming. It is a way to self-harm. That's the thing I think that I've told people all for most of my life when people have asked me, and we've had the conversations about, have I ever self-harmed before? I have attempted to end my own life a few times in my life. But in terms of like physically hurting myself, I never was that kind of person. Right, I have been the kind of person that have definitely punched myself in the face. But I have found in my self-deprecation, the easiest way to hurt myself is always mentally. So that's, I feel like, the battle within, right? Like that is the best way to hurt yourself where nobody else can really see it as much, because you're not physically hurting yourself, you're mentally hurting yourself, which is probably even worse. Again, the self-deprecation. I am the person that says, hey, I know how this feels, but I also am the person that has to say, we can't live in these feelings. We can't live in these feelings. I have to say it on a good day because I know how easy it is for me to live in those feelings. So say I'll be okay. Don't you go and lie to me softly. Oh, the chorus is so fire. Don't you go and lie to me. Don't tell me it's going to be okay, because it's not going to be okay. Anything to pick me up. You'll say anything to make me feel better, and that's not what I want. I don't want to feel better. I want to wallow in it. All day staring at the walls, they're a new type of gray. Love that. I love that line, because for, again, those of us who deal with that depression, right, that the line of staring at the wall is something that we're all familiar with, whether that be the ceiling, the wall, whatever. We understand the concept and the feeling. It's a new type of gray. It's like, I've been here so many times that this gray is even worse than the other ones. Again, I just really love them writing from the most hurt when it comes to like the perspective, right, of the lyrical side, where they're coming from this perspective of it being from the worst part of the pain. You're speaking all through the worst part of the pain. Could I truly be happy for me? I talked about that recently on a live stream, maybe, or even a different review lately. I don't remember what it was. It might have even been a Teddy Talk on the Patreon, where I talked about how difficult it is for me to come for now to come to the realization, I've been in the realization, but how difficult it is for me to, what's the word I'm trying to say? I guess I just equate it back to the song. Be happy for myself about anything at all, about my channel, about my personal life, my professional life, my personal relationships, like all of the different things in my life. It's really hard for me to go, you know what, Johnny? You're doing a good job, man. That's awesome. I talked about how I think I said that maybe like a couple of times a year, maybe if I'm lucky, maybe once a quarter, maybe 4 times, 5 times a year if I'm lucky, where I'll look in the mirror and be like, you know what, man? You're doing all right. You're doing all right, you know? And just being like actually proud of myself or happy for myself, or really just kind of having any kind of like positive things to say about me. So I guess the best way I could say is I really just relate to that line for me. It's like I have such a hard time finding any kind of path to get on to where I could be everybody else's biggest cheerleader, but I don't know how I can be my own. And I've been struggling with this my entire life, and I don't know how to fix that about myself. Now it's hard for me to be mindful and not repeat the cycle of every regret that I've got. Still, I have nobody to blame for all my mistakes. I can't bring back the things that I've lost. Still have nobody to blame for all my mistakes. It's coming again to the realization that sometimes it's us, man. It ain't everybody else around us. I talked about this before on plenty of other reviews, where it's really important, I think, to sometimes look within. Just as I got done saying, I'll beat myself up too much, but I think it's also important to look within and understand that sometimes you are the problem. Sometimes the things about you need to change. It isn't everybody else around you. That's what I feel like I take away from that line. It's like sometimes like we blame this on that and this and this and this and that. But sometimes we already know the answer. You know, we already knew what the answer was. So say I'll be okay. We're too glad to be softly. Super great chorus, man. Super great chorus. So good. Because I don't want to waste my life. Take me far away from here. Still, I'll be the person who's fading away. Yeah, you can try to be dope to me and friendly. Don't trip when you leave, because it's hard to be happy for me. Don't trip with you leave. This is probably the worst thing that I have probably done in every personal relationship that I've ever had. Especially of a romantic sense, right? I feel like every one of those people, I would say things about like, oh, when you leave, you know, at someday you'll realize. At when you do this, you'll say that. You know what I mean? Again, self-deprecation. I think it's getting ahead of the pain sometimes, where it's not healthy. Again, it's not healthy, but a lot of times it's how we feel, and it's how we project our feelings out there into the world. Like, don't trip when you leave is like this idea of like, we're not worthy to have the love, so you'll leave eventually. Is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is getting in front of the pain, because it's like, oh, so when you do leave me, I won't be as hurt by it. You see what I'm saying? Where like there's I think multiple reasons why a lot of people say and do things like that. But again, none of it is good. And that's what I say. I love music like this, because I know how every one of these feelings feel. And I'm not going to say that I am so far beyond feeling like this. I was feeling like this yesterday. You know what I mean? It's not something I am just so far beyond. And I'm like, oh yeah, this was yesteryear. This is how I used to interact all the time. Like, no, like this is still an issue for me. This is still a problem where I still think even probably more strongly about, in some cases, like the how can I ever love myself? How can I ever be happy for myself? those kinds of feelings, I feel like are probably more strong today than they probably have ever been, even though I am the most emotionally educated today than I've ever been. And I would never tell anybody else the things that I tell myself. That's why I feel like it's good sometimes to get into these conversations. So I'm like, I have to say certain things out loud because in my own brain, it's just a revolving door of you fucking suck, bro. Why do you even try? It's really difficult to believe in oneself, especially when you do these kinds of things, right? Like have a reaction channel and you put yourself out there in the world this way, where it's you're opening the door up for criticism in a world where people are going to want to tear you down. So it's really easy for you to find some self-deprecation if you want to go create it for yourself on the internet. That's for sure. Life is laughing at me now. Can't say my problems out loud. Face myself. I don't know how. I can't turn lost into found. Can't turn lost into found. It's super fire. Super fire. I can't turn lost into found. I can't find a way to be found. Chorus again. A new type of hope for me. That's what he was ending with the whole with the outro. So say I'll be okay. Don't you go and lie to me softly. Everything fucks me up all day staring at the rope. I feel that one tight. That was not a pun. But there's a new type of hope. There's a new type of hope for me. I think I really like the fact that I've talked a lot about in some other reviews when we get into some of these subjects where I'm a big fan of did we already okay we did. Where I really like when they stay in the sad feeling and they don't bring back this idea of the sun will come out tomorrow. But I think sometimes when you go all the way into the bag and you go all the way down there to talk about those feelings, again, like I was saying, it is important to remember that this isn't healthy and to try to remember that there is going to be a brighter day. And I think that outro with the new type of hope for me is that kind of remembrance of, even though this is how we might feel, there's still hope. And you got to hold on to that. You have to hold on to that because it's the only thing that keeps us going. It's the only thing that keeps us going. I tell people all the time, like it's basically my life's mantra is to just try to be better today than I was yesterday. And not every day I can do that. Not every day. Sometimes I just give up and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be better today. It's just going to be worse. But hopefully tomorrow will be better than it was today. And it's just one day at a time, man. It's going to say about anything in life. It's all about the baby steps. And it's all about the long journey to get there. And I do believe that I hope that one day I will be able to look at myself in a way that is more positive. It is from a healthier perspective of loving oneself. But right now, I don't feel like I'm close to that. I still feel like I'm pretty far from that. And I'd like to get there. I would like to get there. Again, I feel like there was so much to talk about in this video. There's a whole different discussions, again, between the music side of it and the video side of it and the story that was being told there. And I don't think there's anything that I wanted to touch on and talk about that I didn't today. Again, quite a bit of discussion to come out of this song today. I definitely want to appreciate Jessica for the Reaper review today. I think she definitely understood the assignment. And I feel like we're kind of getting a little bit closer to the idea of everybody understanding what the Reaper review is supposed to kind of look like, you know? And not every song is this, you know? And not every review is going to be this either, right? But it's supposed to be more for the space of this, I think. And so I definitely want to appreciate you, friend, for for being a ghosty member of the channel, for your love and support as always, and just for your friendship, friend. I really appreciate you for bringing this song today. And yeah, it's meant a lot to me. It's definitely one of those ones where, again, like I say this all the time, where I'm like, on the right day it's going to make me cry. 1000%. This is going in quite the few playlists. I can't get over how only 2,000 people like this. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's just disrespectful. Absolutely just disrespectful. This is too great. Too great to only be that, you know? I think that's all I got today, friends. Until next time, be kind to a stranger. Tell somebody you love them. And if you haven't joined the Foxtrot family, as always,